Hello everybody, Morten from English here. Chica and I, we are still in Radebeul for the variJET event. And actually, I would say almost the only from the outside speakers was actually a very great presentation by Francois Martin. Francois, good to see you.
Morten, nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you as well. I mean, the experience you have through generations, I was just about to say, or at least decades, right? It's given you like a fantastic overview of both the industry technologies, but also where it's about to, which directions to look into, right?
Yes, so I have the benefits of having been in that industry for more than 20 years, so at least 2 decades. And I have clearly seen the shift in mentality with the digital adoption. Because from the beginning, I was pushing digital. But now I see digital being understood, and it is not a technology that is replacing anything. It is a technology that is enabling new things to be possible. And the combination, specifically here today with Koenig Bauer, we are talking about folding carton. This is about having offset and digital working as one, working together. And this is something that I think has been well understood by the customers, and it is in their minds becoming reality. When they see the components of the machines, some of them are from the offset world, they become core of the digital machine, and then the software is valid for both. So things are now shaping. The vision we had 20 years ago is now real, and I like it.
You mentioned also in your keynote that actually what you spoke about when you were like a young man entering a printing company about ideas about the digital future. That is actually what you see is happening now, even with the same company, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. And in fact, at the beginning, I remember 20 years ago, a lot of printers were not convinced by digital. They were finding thousands of excuses.
There was also like quality issues in the beginning, right? To be honest with it. Or yes, maybe not issues, but at least there was a difference. So people sometimes had to go and say, this is a digital, but it's cheaper because of short run, or this is digital because that's the only way to do variable. But if you really want a good thing, but today that's not even a question anymore.
No,
right?
True. I mean, at the beginning, people were checking quality, but they were always finding a good reason not to jump into digital. That was 20 years ago, even 15, 20, 10 years ago. Now people have understood that it's not only about speed, quality is a given, whatever is good, and now it's about combining the two to be able to say yes to all the brand owners' requests. But this is really something that has changed. And it's a much better conversation that we have now with the converters.
So how much, because I mean, you worked for HP before and you also worked for Bob's before in the digital space and as marketing. And I think that some of the talk tracks we have been having over at least this last 10 years where I've been part of it, was also that, okay, digital really requires new business models. It needs to rethink because you cannot have salespeople going and selling a job of one, for example, right? You have to rethink your digital strategy. How much does that influence? Because when you look at a machine like the variJET that we are now presenting here, or Koenig Bauer is presenting here today, it is, as you say, a complementary to the repeater machines that we see also on this side today, right? But the business model with that machine, do they need to be changed, or is it something that you can relatively easy put into your existing setup?
So it's much easier today to integrate digital into your company because what was presented, and in fact there is a significant overlap between the digital capabilities and the offset capabilities, meaning that for a customer, looking at the jobs that he has, he can decide which one should go on which machines, because some jobs are clearly made for offset. Some jobs are clearly made for digital, but it's not, and then some are in the middle. And then it will depend on your capacity, it will depend on the timing, and now it's much easier for a converter to operate being flexible, because it's not about speed. It's about handling a lot of jobs. And this is what has changed as well compared to 20 years ago. 20 years ago, short runs, we were talking about them, there were some, but now the amount of jobs that every converter is getting has increased dramatically. And this is a change where digital makes sense. Without digital, handling all the jobs you get is almost mission impossible.
In one of your slides, I think it was really great because you have different sizes of trucks, down actually to a bicycle almost, right? And I was just thinking, because I think it was a good analogy, because as you say that if you have something that you need to deliver in a narrow street of Palermo, for example, right? Then you would of course not take the biggest truck because it doesn't fit, you can't do it, but it doesn't. So again, that is also a question for the converters now to think that, okay, we will, I think also that is a talk track both you and Koenig Bauer spoke about, is that this is also an opportunity to free up not profitable job on the offset presses, which is basically too low a print run to be efficient on the offset presses, and then free up the capacity as well.
Absolutely, Martin, you said it well. Offset, it's a fantastic technology for decades, but offset is made for volume. And not all the jobs requires volume, so digital is made for small to mid-length, mid-size length, and once you have both in your factory, then you can take care of all the jobs, because running short runs on an offset press, it was well presented. You have a lot of cost. You have the setup cost, I mean the paper waste, you have the plates, you have the time it takes, and at the end of the day, if you make a fair analysis of all your jobs, you realize that some are made for offset, some are made for digital, and if you don't have the digital, you are handicapped. You are like just one hand, and it's better having both.
One of the things that I think is not being talked so much about here, and also generally speaking when we talk digital packaging, is on the finishing and the delivery side, right? Because I mean, the moment that you have, let's say, a pallet of thousands of jobs, as long as it's the same form, it's easy to die cut, of course, right? But the moment they have different shapes and different forms and different, customer SKUs, it is not as easy. Where do you think the next generation in making the digital, let's say, flow complete is on the finishing side?
So you are absolutely right. In folding carton, printing is the easy part. Finishing is more complex because you need to go through the die cutting and then the folding gluing. And this today, for the die cutting, you have the traditional blades, and then you have laser. But laser is
still slow,
exactly, very slow. And then for some jobs,
especially if it gets more and more complex forms, because that is also the advantage of digital. You can do more complex things, basically.
Yes, but so you have two worlds. You have the high volume, high quality with die cutting, and then you have the laser cutting. But I think that over time, there will be something happening new in the middle to ensure that we can really optimize folding carton production, because the finishing, as you said, with embellishment, with die cutting, and with folding gluing, it's still a very conventional process. But that's for the next 2 generations. So I started on that business more than 20 years ago. There will be the next 20. And the progress will be also on the finishing equipment, where it will be more digitalized in a way.
And it's of course also interesting, I mean, because if you look at Bob's where you worked, they were like really far ahead of both the hybrid machines and in digital machines and finishing, of course, mostly in the label side. But the interesting thing is that when you have suppliers that are basically trying to fulfill the end-to-end solution from the software to the printing to the finishing side, and I think that if you look at Koenig and Bauer on at least on the B1 format, also seems that they're in their investments in Iberica and their investments in folding gluers from Turkey, seems that they are trying to get into also being like a full supplier of that. Do you think it makes sense, or does it make more sense to pick the right ones? Or
on that, it has been a discussion all the time. Is it better to make your own combination?
But you're experienced man, so you may know.
No, so I think if you look at what Koenig and Bauer is offering with their Rapida in the offset world, and then with the variJET in digital, and then they can combine their cutting solutions. Having everything from one single supplier, it has a lot of benefits in terms of service, in terms of usability, because then the software are the same, the spirit, the design of the machine, the user interface.
So it makes it easier.
So it makes it much easier for the press operators
and
for
of course,
the manager, the site manager. has an easier life.
Yeah. Do you think it locks the customer a little bit, because when you choose one supplier and you have a total ecosystem, then it's a little bit more difficult to change? Or
yes, you are mentally you are locked, but at the end
you can still do whatever you want, right?
There is no interest for Koenig Bauer to do a bad job with you and then to choke your head.
No, of course not.
It's better to rely on someone that will help you to grow, because it's not a transactional business.
No.
It's a relationship.
Precisely,
it's a long-term relation, because we need also to keep in mind that equipment, you keep it in average for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's really a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like a wedding.
Yeah. Totally different thing. Has it been fun being here today?
Oh yeah, very, very interesting. And for me, it was even more interesting because I came in Dresden 40 years ago, before the war went down. So I'm back to a totally new city. I see a lot of energy, and I'm very happy to see components being used in digital and in offset together. For me, it's fantastic.
I thought you would say the very, very much more important thing. You're going to see an opera tomorrow, right?
Tonight, in fact,
tonight?
yes.
Okay.
I have time, and I will be at the opera that has been fully renovated.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francois.
Thank you, Martin.